Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon to my friends across the pond. I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Wednesday. We had an absolute banger of a night last night. It was so fun. Alicia and I talking about her small account challenge. If you've not gotten a chance to check it out, the order form is actually still pinned to this chat. But immediately following this, we're going to play our presentation from last night, so you can make sure that you don't miss it if you did yesterday. There is just an unbelievable guarantee with what she's doing, and I back her, so I'm pretty excited. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about NVIDIA and what it means for the market and a major event that I know is coming that maybe nobody else does. So let's start with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the backbone of AI. All right, this is a company that started out just making gaming chips. There's an NVIDIA chip in your PlayStation. There's an NVIDIA chip in your Xbox. There's probably an NVIDIA chip in the new Switch 2 from Nintendo. That was how they got their start and what they were experts in. And then people realized, wait, I can use these chips for Bitcoin mining. And that was the first major run in NVIDIA. So we all know about the 2024 run, but we forget about the 2021 run. This is split adjusted. You can see the split here. But NVIDIA's first run was in 2021. And it ran from $12 to about $34, $35 split adjusted, almost 200%. So obviously 2022, we all know what happened with crypto, and NVIDIA fell with it. In October of 2022, less than 3 years ago, you could have bought NVIDIA for a split adjusted price of under $11. It's now 180. Not bad. Not bad. Folks, my name is Mark Sebastian. I am the founder of OptionPit.com. We've been around about 15 years. And, I am the CEO and founder. I was a floor trader on the CBOE and the American Stock Exchange. So I did my time in New York and then moved back to Chicago. And now I'm here with you. And there's no place I'd rather be. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Port North, Florida man. Good to see everybody. And NVIDIA has earnings. And yeah, let's put some things in perspective. I'm going to circle to these earnings in a second, but this is now a $4.44 trillion company. It has catapulted past Microsoft and Apple. Microsoft is a measly 3.75 trillion, and Apple is only $3.4 trillion. And we're going to talk about what this means in a second. And we're going to be live this afternoon to react to these earnings. And don't worry, we'll be with you tomorrow morning, as we are every day, for the state of the market to help you through this process. So NVIDIA, 36,000 employees, $4.4 trillion in value. carrying a PE of about 58. So lofty, but they make a ton of money. Last 12 months, they had 150 billion in revenue, and they earned about 50% of that, more than 50%, 77 billion. Heading into these earnings, this is one of the things I like about Livevol. They're pricing in about a 6.42% move. A little bit below average. Normally, they're pricing in that 6.58. And the median move after earnings has been 5%. Now, you expect that. Most companies oh, geez. Most companies do move more than their earnings are pricing in. And looking at what they've done in the past, last quarter they moved 3% up. Previous quarter they moved 8% down. Quarter before that, about 0.5% up, down 6%, and then 2024 and 2023 is really when this thing absolutely just took off. Rallied 14%, rallied 24%, rallied 16%. That was what really built this out, caused it to start really taking off. Looking at the chart, you're just off an all-time high here, folks. Yesterday it closed at 181.77. The all-time high here is 183.16. So we're sitting on it. If you want to look at how kind of the options for Friday are pricing, with the stock trading $180, we trade what's called a straddle to figure out what they're pricing in. What is a straddle? Let me tell you. When you buy a call, and options are not gambling, but using gambling references is a really good way but the way that gambling is priced is not dissimilar from options, if that makes sense. So if I'm taking the Bears to beat the Vikings and the Bears are laying 3, it's kind of like paying $3 for a call. You're betting the Bears are going to win, and you're betting they're going to win by more than 3. That's a call. Now, if I take the other side of that and I bet the Vikings to lose, and the Vikings are getting 3 points, that's like paying for a put. I'm paying 3 points, betting the Vikings are going to lose by more than 3. And so think of a call as betting that a team is going to win, and a put as betting a team is going to lose. Well, what if you want to play the over-under, the total points scored? That's a straddle. A straddle is not betting on one team to win. A straddle is not betting on one team to lose. A straddle is betting on how many points are scored. So NVIDIA is pricing in about a little over $12 of movement between now and Friday. Does not seem that overly expensive to me. Basically, post earnings, This is what I am betting on. I'm betting NVIDIA will be above below 168.10 or above 192.10, 92.15 if I buy both the call and the put. See how this thing moves. Right? It's kind of, I used to jokingly say it's like being at the bar at 2 a.m. as it's closing. What do they always say? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. If it stays here, it's like having a really bad patron that you got to call the police to get out. And why is NVIDIA so important? Why do you guys think NVIDIA is so important? Can we use the word invest, not bet? Sure, you're not gambling with options. You're trying to put on favorable trades. The way we trade options here at Option Pit is we're kind of like, we look at things as if we're the house, not the gambler. Got a lot of great answers. AI, institutional ownership, says Northport, Florida man. Yes. Market bellwether. It's 7.5% of the SPX. Yes. All right. So let's look at this, and I want to start with the triple Q. How many people own the triple Q in your portfolios? All right. Now, yesterday, Alicia and I spent a lot of time talking about why you should have, on top of the passive side, an active piece of your investing. And that's Alicia's small account challenge. But does any of you own the triple Q? Nobody here. Stone Joe owns the triple Q. Chuck owns the triple Q. Great. Shane owns some triple Q. Jose doesn't own it. He just trades it. I love that, Jose. My sister's got some in her portfolio. She won't let me sell. I did manage to move some of that position into a different index, ETF. But anyway, you own it. I don't know if you're aware of how concentrated the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100, has become. NVIDIA, as it stands today, is 14.34% of the triple Q. One stock out of 100 is over 14% of the QQQ. But it doesn't stop there. Microsoft is 12% and Apple is 11%. Between these three stocks, make up 38% of the triple Q. And let's go a little further here. Amazon is another 8%. That's 46% now. Meta is 6%. That's 52%. 5 stocks, 52%. The other 95 are 48. But let's take it a little further. Broadcom is 4.5%. We're now at 56. The Google twins are 8%. We're now at 64%. You add in Tesla, you're at 68%. 8 stocks in a 100-stock index are 68% of this ETF. And you're saying, well, Mark, I don't invest in the Qs. I buy SPY. All right, well, let's look at those 8 companies again. NVIDIA is 7.6. Microsoft is 6.4. That's 14%. Apple, another 6%. You got 20% of the S&P in 3 stocks. You add the Google twins, you're at 25%. Amazon, 29. Meta and Broadcom, you're up to 34. And you add in Tesla, and you're at 36. And then don't forget Berkshire Hathaway's ownership in Apple. Eight stocks in 500 make up almost 37% of the S&P 500. Is it better than the triple Q? Yes. But is it as diversified as you think? That thing is top heavy. So, why is NVIDIA so important? Because these indexes have become more and more and more hyper concentrated. Someone said the rest of the S&P is boring. How dare you insult AT&T, number 46 in the index? Yeah, so Texas Instruments, which is the 50th biggest stock in the S&P 500, only makes up 0.32%. I mean, why bother with the other? You get to number 169 and they're worth 0.1% or less. I mean, frankly, why bother with these last 100 companies? They don't matter. Campbell's Soup, you think they're feeling good about that 0.02% of the S&P? Yeah, leave Ma Bell alone. Leave Ma Bell alone. So, I'm going to tell you what's coming. If it was equal weight, we wouldn't be here. There would be no GP. Well, I'll tell you, most of my investments are in the equal weight S&P 500. And equal weight doesn't rebalance every day. It rebalances every quarter. And we can have another discussion about this at some point. But there is a huge event that is coming our way in the next month to 3 months. And I can't wait to share with you how it's going to play out. But does anybody know what a rebalance is? Yeah. The NASDAQ 100 is now way too top heavy. And in the past, when things have gotten too top heavy, what has the NASDAQ done? It has rebalanced itself. And folks, remember I told you we talked about the makeup of the QQQ? And NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Apple make up 38%. And with Amazon, you're at 45. You're at over 45%. All right. Well, when they rebalanced in 2023, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, and Amazon, and Tesla, 5 companies, made up 43.8%. Now we have 4 companies making up 45. You add that 5th company and you're 51%. You're at 51%. So, what do you think is going to happen here soon? They are going to rebalance this thing. There will be a special rebalance. It's gotten way, way out of whack. That 52% from the top 5 companies will probably drop to somewhere between 40 and 45. Break up the biggest companies. How are you going to break these companies up? Why do you want to break these companies up? I'll tell you, and I told this on Friday, Apple in 10 years is going to be AT&T, down at 50, slugging along and not doing much in the S&P. So the point is, we are going to have a rebalance and there's going to be an opportunity here. But in the meantime, NVIDIA and these companies are going to push things around. You're going to see more and more people kind of saying to themselves, wow, the market's up despite NVIDIA. Or the market would be down today if NVIDIA wasn't up, or Apple, or Amazon, or Google. There is a huge opportunity out there, and we're going to take it. But in the meantime, while this thing is kind of out of whack, if you will, I'm loving it because it makes for better trading. Smaller companies go over the radar because everybody's paying attention to these ones up here. And that's one of the things I love about what Leash is doing. She's not really concentrating on NVIDIA. She's not really concentrating as much on Apple. She's concentrating on small companies, not small. AT&T, Bank of America, JP Morgan, she loves her Costco, but like Pepsi, Shopify, Qualcomm, all these companies that we don't think about as much, Comcast, Intel, all these companies we don't really trade as much because the upside has gotten so nuts. And go from there. James says, should there be a new index with just the Mag 7? Well, I call them the Grade 8 because Broadcom is actually bigger than Tesla and more important to the industry, I think, to our AI push. Tesla is a user. Broadcom is a huge infrastructure play in AI. So, Leisha's small account challenge, one of the things I love is that it's designed for somebody that has as little as $5,000. And it's simple and easy, so anybody can do it. And she's going to try and double her count in the next 6 months. But one thing we know, she is promised and put up a rock solid guarantee that she's going to beat the S&P return in the next 6 months by 4 times. So the S&P does 5%, she's going to do 20. And don't worry, that doesn't apply to the downside. If the S&P loses 10%, she's not going to lose 40. Back in April, when the whole market was falling apart, she was banking profits. While the market was tanking, Leisha was raking. So again, if you haven't checked out the presentation from Leisha and I last night, it's going to play right after this. But I just want you to have in the back of your head why we pay so much attention to NVIDIA. And then, tanking and banking. I like that better. Gosh, you out dad joked me. So while the market was tanking, Leisha was banking. So the big point is, yes, NVIDIA is huge, and we're going to be live after the bell to react. But don't forget about the other 490 names in the S&P 500 and the other 92 names in the Triple Q. There's a ton of opportunity that nobody is paying attention to, and Leisha is. All right, everybody. My time with you is up. Again, stay tuned. Leisha's and my discussion from last night is going to play right now. But we'll be back with you tomorrow, as we are every day, for the State of the Market at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I am Mark Sebastian.